What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the spot. We kick back in and react to all kind of different things. All right, so what we got going on today? Casual Geographic has dropped a new one. This one is called The Best Aura Moments in Nature. I know I got a few more of his to do, I think, to like fully catch up on the ones I missed, but we will get those in. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out this new one. Let's check out these aura moments, see what he's talking about here. Let's go. That's what he's talking about. When we see the small animals punk the big ones. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Aura. You've heard the word, even if it was after the brain rot brigade ruined it for everyone. The definition of aura is not important, it's the feeling. It's commanding an entire room without speaking. It's when your name is spoken, it demands respect. Man, look, we don't even need this intro. You know what aura is. Captain America wielding the
Oh yeah, we know. Oh, we know.
hammer of Thor, aura. Steph Curry having an entire building watching him shoot. Except for Steph Curry, aura. Experts advising tourists against even saying this bear's name for their safety, aura. Animals can have
I swear. Every time I see like Steph Curry looking away, I'll be like, man, this man is so disrespectful with his shots, but I love it. I love seeing it.
Steph Curry having an entire building watching him shoot. Except for Steph Curry, aura. Experts advising tourists against even saying this bear's name for their safety, aura. Animals can have it too, and when you talk about aura, this bear might just be the mascot. This is bear number 122, but he's mainly known as the boss. He's a 700-pound walking boulder of a bear and the most dominant grizzly in Banff National Park in Alberta. He's your biggest predator's biggest predator, as the boss has been recorded catching, murking, and eating other bears. In fact, one of the first times he ever was seen was while feeding on a recently expired black bear, or at least what was left of him, and officials had to close down the Sundance Canyon Trail until he was done. He's like the carnivore conductor. Everyone has to follow his timing. He's always the last bear to hibernate, but the first one up. He has a home range of about 1,000 square miles, and like Genghis Grizzly, Boss is believed to have fathered 70% of all the bears in Banff. Brother Bear was going to work, but unfortunately, with every job, eventually you retire, and one day Boss tragically hit a train and was put down.
This bear was changing the ecosystem. He was killing other bears while mating and fathering so many others. He literally changed the type of bear that's in this area. This old boy's over here trying to be the Genghis Khan of bears.
The train, that is. Yeah, this walking plot armor survived being struck by a train twice. Mind you, trains are the #1 killer of all wildlife in Banff, and Boss regularly uses the tracks as a buffet line to feed on spilled grain, as well as the carcasses of other animals that weren't strong enough to survive what he walked off twice. The definition of aura is a bear covered in oil from hours spent eating off the same tracks that should have killed him. But this god of war grizzly doesn't just not fear death, he straight up disrespects it. According to Parks Canada mapping, Boss regularly crosses high-speed, heavy traffic highways like Trans-Canada, and yeah, in case you were curious, that's another leading cause of bears getting disqualified from life. And that's not the only way he disregards death. Believe it or not, if there was something less than nothing, bears would want that to do with us. The best way to avoid a bear is to make enough noise to give the bear a chance to avoid you, and mother bears will actually dead.
The way he said that.
He disregards death. Believe it or not, if there was something less than nothing, bears would want that to do with us. The best way to avoid a bear is to make enough noise.
It's like no matter what, bears just mess with us. Like why they so curious about us, man? I don't like that. Leave us alone.
To give the bear a chance to avoid you, and mother bears will actually den closer to people, knowing that'll keep baby aborting males away. Which means, ironically, some bears choose the man. Boss chooses himself.
Oh, that joke was great. Oh man. That's the best one I've heard from you in a while. That was too good.
Males away, which means ironically some bears choose the man. Boss chooses himself. Bear 122 is a common visitor of compost around Banff, and he even forced the town to put up a 9,500-volt electric fence just to keep him from raiding the landfills. There was also that time you had Boss breaking into backyards just to eat from fruit trees. So of course the only option was to cut down the trees. The thing is, Boss was never known to be aggressive to people. To be fair, that's also true for most bears that are alive, but my theory is, he knows damn well we can't do a thing about him. Boss is a whole anime protagonist with predatory hardware, so you shouldn't be surprised that he has his own villain. One day, wildlife photographer John E.
Basically saying like, I ain't worried about y'all, but I also know that I ain't got to worry about y'all. I ain't trying to mess with y'all, and I know y'all can't mess with me, or at least the smart ones ain't gonna try. That's aura for you.
Marriott seemingly saw Boss at his worst. He could barely move, he had chunks taken out of his face, and for the first time, he had gotten got. And the most likely culprit, yeah, that would be this guy, Split Lip. Split Lip, or Bear 136, was another mountain of a bear in Banff, and Boss's #1 op. They even have the same Earth-societal tendencies. In 2015, his tracking collar stopped working, and researchers looking for it were met with Split Lip's discarded collar and a mostly eaten grizzly corpse that wasn't Split Lip. They've been running fades for years, and with both being at least over 20, this beef's likely been marinating over a decade. And with Boss estimated at 28, he proves one thing: beware the old man in a profession where men die young. In fact, even his name is dangerous. Just not in the way you think. You see, when you name an animal, you're basically...
Those two bears somebody needs to write a book about this. They need to interview those who have been watching these bears over time. And because that's a story, that's a rivalry right there. We need to get that in like an anime or something.
Personalizing them. It's one thing to do it to a dog. It's a different game for a 700-pound wild Rottweiler. It turns animals into celebrities. And if you think someone's not logic deficient enough to risk it all for a Boss selfie, yeah, Bison is more than a good buy. It's enough for experts to caution against saying his name out of fear that he might literally gain too much clout for his own good. Think about it. This bear's aura is too strong to have a name. But there's more than one kind of aura, even in the animal world. You ever get that new kid in class that everyone just rocks with? Like the popular kids, the teachers, he can make nice with half the school by lunch. That's that charismatic aura, and this is the picture of it. The story goes, a couple lost their dog while hiking in Kamchatka. Remind me to tell you why that's important later, and they fired up a drone to try and find him. Oh, they did, they found him, traveling with 3 bears. There's a lot to unpack here. Number 1, bears don't live in packs, thank the natural order for that, but that means this husky had the stones to pull up on a mother bear with cubs and didn't get sent to dog backwards. Not to mention, there are wolves.
This man said, thank the natural order they don't run in packs. Yo, for real. Imagine getting ran up on by 30 bears.
Husky had the stones to pull up on a mother bear with cubs and didn't get sent to dog backwards. Not to mention, there are wolves in Kamchatka, meaning bears already have a predilection to canine prejudice. But speaking of Kamchatka, not only does it flex the highest density of brown bears on Earth, the constant fresh supply of salmon means they're one of the few animals alive that could maul a grizzly. So I'm not exaggerating, this dog chose the biggest land predators on the planet and adopted them. Yeah, he adopted them. You can tell they're just barely tolerating him. Whole time the husky's having the time of his life. Does this look familiar? I'll give you a hint.
I'm making waffles.
And I just know it was the mom telling the cubs ignore him and he'll go away that got him here. That's the real reason she doesn't suplex his world. Because then she'd be admitting she was wrong. There's no report the couple got their dog back, but I don't think that's not their dog no more. Especially since if I had a nickel for every time a drone caught a dog breaking bear boundaries, I'd have at least 2 more nickels than I woke up with. Oh, and it's more than just dogs. In 2018, a Polish farmer lost one of his cows, and for 2 months straight, she was unaccounted for. That is, until she was caught posted up with a herd of wild, untamed bison. I could make the joke here, but I don't want to give guidelines a chance, so hopefully the comments do it for me. In 2016.
I'm not pausing it on it either. I could have paused it, but I'm not pausing it right there either. But yeah, we know the joke. We know the joke. Oh,
another drone captured a pod of beluga whales that had adopted a single lone narwhal. Just for reference, narwhals are painfully shy, people-fearing, eternally introverted anxiety whales that could genuinely get past tense by a panic attack. But as of 2022, he's been running with the same beluga squad every year. This is Aura. Also, fun fact, Narluga hybrids are an actual thing, so maybe this is the same vibe. Probably helps that despite resembling a sun-starved dolphin, belugas have the intimidation of a cinnamon roll. Next animal looks like a cinnamon roll, but could absolutely fold you.
The 2-week-old unrefrigerated pie. Drum way to dry.
You know, when I saw this video, my first thought, that golden retriever's there strictly for vibes. Come to realize, that's not a golden retriever, it's a furry Grim Reaper. It's a Great Pyrenees, a canine insurance policy built to run fades with wolves and bears. It's old man country strength in a canine's body. If you meet someone's Pyrenees for the first time and they're all over you, yeah, that's not affection. It's basically a vibe check, and fail at your own expense, because the moment you do something they don't like to them, or God forbid someone they care about, this is Casper. He's not a ghost, but damn it if he doesn't make him. He's a 21-month-old, 85-pound cotton-tip goofball, at least according to owner John Werville. He lets chickens sleep on his head, he treats the sheep like family.
Yeah, according to the owner. Yeah, he's part of your pack. That's why.
And he's pretty outgoing for a guard dog. until it's time to go out and be a guard dog. On November 3rd, 2022, 11 coyotes raided the farm in Georgia and 3 managed to break into a pen. If that wasn't motivation enough, Casper also had a mate, Daisy, who was pregnant with 8 puppies. Casper knew what time it was. Casper cleared the 4-foot hog wire fence and not so gently perp walked the first 3 off the census in seconds. Casper then jumped the fence again and this time went after the entire pack, and even with 5 other Pyrenees on the farm, Casper went at it alone. No backup. This was personal. Casper would disappear for 2 days, until reappearing with cuts, torn skin, and a severely injured tail that ended up getting amputated. I'd show the other guys, but corpses aren't allowed on YouTube. The next day, people found the bodies of the decommissioned coyotes littered around railroad tracks, the carnage totaling 8 dead coyotes. If you remember how many unborn pups they pressed, I don't believe 8 was an accident.
That's a fight scene in a Disney movie, like the old Disney movies and stuff, where they have animals going at it. Woo, man. That is a story for you. Man, I love hearing about stuff like this. That's aura right there. That's not just, that's anime aura right there. He went out there and was scrapping.
8 dead coyotes. If you remember how many unborn pups they pressed, I don't believe 8 was an accident. Casper would spend 2 weeks at the emergency vet and another 6 at the animal clinic to treat his wounds of war. But thanks to Samaritans donating $15,000 to his medical bills, Casper would make a full recovery. And in 2024, he was voted the People's Choice Pup and won Farm Dog of the Year. Today, Casper's retired, and after single-handedly saving his entire bloodline, as he should. Next animal also retired, but only after saving his entire species.
Saved the entire bloodline, the entire farm, and wiped out another bloodline in the process. Homie was not playing.
Except this is the one time the aura came from stolen valor. Aura fraud is a crime and his prehistoric plus-size pebble committed it. Giant tortoises actually used to be seasoned all over, but that changed the moment folks discovered how good turtle meat tastes. It was actually ridiculous. You know, they didn't get a scientific name for hundreds of years, all because the sailors traveling with them kept eating them before they made it back to London. It got to the point where the population of giant tortoises on Hispaniola Island was 3 males and 12 females away from getting discontinued permanently. They started a breeding program, but off the bat, only 2 males were able to contribute. That was until they realized that a tortoise living in the San Diego Zoo had actually been born on Hispaniola, and DNA tests confirmed that Diego was exactly what they were looking for, and so recruited him. Diego peeped the senses and immediately came to his senses. He locked in. They said, "Go Diego."
Oh man.
Recruited him. Diego peeped the senses and immediately came to his senses. He locked in. They said, "Go Diego, go." Boy did he ever. 3 male Hood Island tortoises were brought into the breeding program, and Sir Diego proceeded to score a career high in spreading thighs. Do turtles even have? Yes. With more rounds than Nick's cannon, the amorous anvil with legs spawned 900 children and fathered 40% of all the tortoises born in the program, forever immortalizing him as a turtle who laid so much pipe he carried the species. And I do mean carry. There were 3 males, but one of them literally couldn't bump shells if their species depended on it. Either that or it was one of those watching turtles. Now, I'm not a mathemacologist, but 3 males with one pulling 40% and the other contributing vibes means Diego wasn't the MVP. That turtle was E5, and logic says his loins were responsible for 60% of the output. But apparently Diego being a bigger, louder personality means he siphoned E5's clout, although to be fair, being named after a fucking bingo space didn't help. E5 was quiet, reserved, and rarely witnessed in the act. Meanwhile, Diego was the type to crash Keratin and let the whole island hear about it. This was a turtle 2 man that went on a legendary run to save their species, which
So this man was not quiet about it. He was letting you know what he was up to. He was a bragger. Oh man, that's wild. Man, 2 bros came in and said, "We got this." Saved their whole species.
now numbers 2,300 on Hispaniola. Both tortoises have retired and have since been returned to their native island almost 80 years after they were first recruited. Moral of the story, there's a lot in a name. Call a bear a boss and he'll act like one. Name a shell jockey after the spawn of Elon, you're setting both up for failure. But failure is not even a concept to the next animal, because when you talk about aura, this guy might have won himself a life supply. This is Jacob the Ion. Ion cuz he just refuses to take the L. And earlier this year, he and his brother broke a record in the most unexpected way possible. But to really appreciate how insane this is, you need to know just how they got here. Jacob belongs to a super rare population of tree climbing lions in Queen Elizabeth National Park. What was really rare was his plot armor. In 2019, 5-year-old Jacob stepped on a wheel trap, a brutal torture device meant to bring down buffalo and hippos. That'd be curtains for most lions, but Jacob managed to escape, although not without sacrificing a leg. And although he was kept alive by pridemates bringing him food and rangers eventually treating his wound with antibiotics, the chances a 3-legged lion can last more than a year are low, and they were about to get a lot worse. In March 2020, 6 of Jacob's family members were poisoned by poachers and body parts sold on the black market. Being a tripod predator is already life on impossible mode. Doing that without a pride behind you is a for sure death sentence. Death seemed even more certain because 6 weeks after that, Jacob was gored by a buffalo, gifting him a gruesome puncture hole in his chest. Somehow Jacob survived everything, but the jihad of life didn't end there. Even with brother Tibu by his side, there's one big risk with being a lion without a pride, and one night, it happened. Jacob and Tibu lost a fight with a rival group of males, and as lion culture states, all losers must be banished from the territory. Problem was, the only way out involved crossing the Kazinga Channel, a channel believed to hold the world's largest population of hippos and crocodiles, both a massive threat to an Afro Kitty's way of life. Jacob had already beat the odds like a Cherokee drum, but this time had to be too much. They did it. Jacob and Tibu swam nearly a mile across croc and hippo seasoned waters at night. It was the longest distance a lion has ever been recorded swimming, and in Kazinga, most don't make it past 100 meters. The brothers lasted a length of 14 football fields, and the craziest part, it didn't take one try. It took 3 attempts, and one of them ended with a mysterious creature stalking them and forcing the pair back to shore. Do you know the nerve it takes to swim through a steroid lizard luncheon and a hippo pool party in the dark for 45 minutes straight while having no way of knowing if something's following you? What even motivates 2 lions to risk their entire lives swimming through a literal, yeah, that'd do it? You see, lions often mark their territory with roaring.
If there's one thing that's gonna be a motivator, if there's one thing that's gonna be a motivator, oh man. But man, after hearing that story, after hearing that, I don't want to hear people complain about plot armor in movies and stuff. Like, this character shouldn't have survived all that. No, look at these real life stories. That's main character energy right there. Man, I'm telling you.
And after losing that crucial fight, the pair heard the sounds of lionesses and the promise of promiscuity on the other side of hell. So yeah, lioness? Nah, them boys did it for the lion yash. Let's pray this lion gets laid, cause that DNA going to waste would be the real tragedy. Second time this video, animals went on a 2-man.
A survivor like that, he needs his family line to continue. We need more epic stories like this happening. Oh man. He went through everything that should have ended him. Literally everything that should have ended a lion happened to him. And he came out of it. If this was a movie, other lions would be calling BS. Talking about, no, that's too much plot armor. But nah, it happened in real life. Don't tell me about plot armor, man. Plot armor is a real thing. Oh man.
To save the lineage, but the next animals are the ratio of destruction hell-bent on destroying everyone else's. But if you know anything about honey badgers, you know this Oreo otter puts the aura in horrifying. The same dust weasel that sleeps off snake venom and goes 3v1 on hyenas and still solos. And there wasn't a honey menace with more aura than Stoffel. Let me tell you something about Stoffel. Stoffel is disrespect in the form of a black Air Force bowl cut weasel. He's the mascot of habitual line stepping, and like IBS, you can't stop him, you can only pray to contain him. He was actually found by caretaker Brian Jones, credits to the weasel distribution system, but Stoffel is like a 4-legged tornado in his home, nuking the place and daring him to do something about it. Eventually, he brought Stoffel to the Mahala Animal Rehabilitation Center, and if you think being around other animals calmed this Tasmanian devil, you don't know Stoffel. There wasn't a single animal this furry thumbtack wouldn't beef with, from messing with a rhino 100 times his size, to running a fade with a serval next door, to even folding an adult tawny eagle. No foul. He'd also harass kitchen staff and help himself to the fridge. Who was gonna stop him? And it turned out, Stoffel wasn't fit to be released to the wild, so this felon ferret was here to stay. At one point, he dug through an electric fence and started bullying the lions, specifically chasing the male around and trying to bite his lion bits. The lion actually grabbed Stoffel, but fun fact, honey badgers are built like a comeback, and loose skin around the neck meant he could turn around and bite the lion right back. He must have been feeling himself, because Stoffel ended up going back to the lions a second time, and nearly got mauled to death, spending over 2 months in the animal hospital. And the first thing this monochrome crash out did, fresh out, was try to get it back in blood, and at this point, Brian knew he had to lock up his war weasel for his own good. And that's when things really got disrespectful. In his new enclosure, Stoffel climbed a tree by a wall and got out, should have seen that coming, but then they removed all the tree's body by the wall. The convict spent all night bending and twisting a branch until it broke, carried it to a wall, leaned it against, and escaped again, so now all the trees were out. Low diff for the Stoff. This time he dug up all the rocks in the enclosure, stacked them high enough, and emancipated himself again. So there went the rocks, but like a fool they left him with mud. A few mud piles later, and Harry Houdini humbled them again. One time,
Man, I don't know how I feel about myself after getting outsmarted 3 times like that. Oh, I'd be pissed off. I would be doubting myself so hard. I feel sorry for the people trying to deal with this.
like a fool they left him with mud. A few mud piles later, and Harry Houdini humbled them again. One time someone made the mistake of leaving a rake in there. Guess what he did. At one point they thought they were bringing in a love interest named Hammy, but all they really did was literally gift him a partner in crime. Like Shadow Clone Jutsu, now there was 2 of them. There was one night Stoffel broke into his caretaker's home via rocks to the window.
Y'all gave him a protege. I'm gonna teach you how to do all my tricks.
And even tried the door. No one got hurt, but sometimes it's about sending a message. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show Nick. He made it clear that every second he was behind a wall was a choice, cause there's a twist. It was all a game. The Weasel Menace had been hand-raised by humans his entire life and had imprinted on them. He wasn't going anywhere. Fun fact, honey badgers are like the mama's boys of mustelids, with pups staying with their mothers for up to 2 years. As far as Stoffel was concerned, Brian was mama. So yeah, Casper was fueled by family, and Jacob's motivation was hocooning some tatas. This dusty sand weasel was memeing the entire time, and I checked, he's still alive. He's currently 27 and has lost most of his teeth, but he still has Hammy to chew his meals for him. Stoffel even has a son named Stompy, guaranteeing that the family business is alive at least another generation. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother. If you ever wanted to meet Stoffel, you should probably get on that. And I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Oh man, it was a great video. Great video, as always. Oh man, some hilarious moments here. Some animals are just wild, man, and not even just some species, some individuals. Like no matter what species you are, you're an individual. Some individuals, oh, do some crazy stuff. Some of these need stories written about them. I swear, I loved it. But all right, y'all, that's gonna do it for this one. So y'all know what to do. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought about this video, and let me know what you'd like to see me react to next. All right, hit that like button, subscribe. We're trying to get the subscriptions up on this channel, trying to get it just like the other channel. All right, and I'll see you guys on the next one.